We continue next time. Just put it going. Okay, so we must be streaming now on YouTube just now as well. The meeting is being live streamed. Okay. Maybe I need to make it private so that only us can see it, but I'll change that later. Okay, so if we come to the course itself, let's see where were we? I think it's fundamentals of data analytics with public sector, which are so this is the specialization, and it has many different courses, about 4 to 5 courses. The first course is I think data analytics. Let's just go back to the first course and see. Data analysis for the public sector. So in that one, the first week is supposed to be this week, whereby we talk about and you know how to access everything from here. Let me just share my screen so you can see what I'm trying to do here.
All right.
So it looks like the YouTube is really echoing. So let me close this one. Otherwise, it's just going to destroy what. Okay, so this is the course for first week. The overview of the course we'll talk about today, and understanding the importance of data analytics in the public sector. Introduction to key concepts and terminology. Unfortunately, we've taken a lot of time, but let's just see how much we can cover here. And when we come back next week, I will just cover the first part, which is overview of the course and its objective.
Okay.
When we come back next week, you can all see my screen?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
see this. Yeah.
Okay, well, she says she can't hear me. But if you go to YouTube, the channel, I'll open the channel next time and then post it there so the rest of you can see. You know, the
Yeah.
recording will be there anyway. You can view this afterwards.
Okay.
So yeah, so it looks like she can see or she's really looking into it. So this is the data analytics for the public sector. Usually it's done by people who work in the public sector in big countries. Almost every public sector department will have its own analytics team, you know, so that they can analyze their data. But in the Gambia, it is done by the Central Bureau of Statistics, headed by my
Okay.
good friend Nyakasi Sanya. So Nyakasi will how do they call him again? The director of director general, but they call him statistician general. Yeah, so he's the head of it. Yeah, so he will look into the public sector and what's it called again? Yeah, I just have to mute you there a little bit. I think the echoing is not really good. So yeah, if you want to talk, if I'm finished, I want you to ask questions. I'll just unmute you. So yeah, unfortunately today we have some noise in the background because someone is coming to fix my TV. But yeah, I think we can do with that. So you know, with first topic today, we'll talk about the introduction overview of the course and its objective, And then we can do the other two subjects next week when we come early, and then go on to part of next week two if possible. So 2 years of orientation so that we get everybody registered. That might take a little bit of time. So yeah, the course is about public sector, as I said, analytics, because every department, I mean, every business, every organization, for instance, even small clubs, they have data. We have data that we keep, in the cloud, in our websites, on surveys for the government departments. They go around, doing, census. So, taking people's opinion about things. So these are all data that they collect and put in a place. It's usually in a data warehouse, wherever it is, in a repository or in a form or in a document. Eventually it's entered into the database, so that people can, a data analyst can look into it and analyze it. And this is really important because you cannot right now. Currently, the trend in the world is that we make decisions based on data. You don't just blindly make decisions, because I feel that this is what's happening, or because one of my constituents, as a politician, one of my constituents wanted, thinks that the most important thing in my region is a garden for women. So let us just do that. You can't just do that. You have to make sure that you collect the data of all. I mean, as long as many people as possible, like a survey. If it's going to be sampling, you sample the people and then collect that data and then put it into a place and then analyze it. So the analyst will look at the trends. Which development area do the most people want, for instance? That's one question you can answer. You can also answer things like, public health issues. Where when you conduct surveys, or even from the hospital, hospital data, you collect it, and you realize that, we have more child mortality deaths in the provinces than in the Combos, for instance. So things like that. They can only be done with public with data analysis. You cannot just blindly talk about things and then what is it called again? Sorry, let me just mute you. Okay, guys, so Mr. Kutubo is here. I told him several times, but yeah, I think he understands now that we're in class. We just have 13 minutes before this session finishes. Yeah. He's trying to fix the TV. Can you reduce the volume again, please? Mr. Kutubo. Mr. Mani, the volume, the other way. Yeah, please. Yeah. Well, you have to come out there to use the volume. Oh, sorry, I don't know how. Yes, okay. So that's data analysis. That's the overview of the course. In the course, we will use tools like R and Python. These are tools that people use to do data analysis. R is a data science tool. That you can install on your computer. We'll install RStudio on our computers, and then go on and bring in some data, sample data, for instance, from the Statistics Bureau, the Data Bureau, the Statistics Bureau from the Gambia. We want to tailor all our courses to Gambia to make sure that it has the maximum impact for our people and our economy. So when we have data analysis, when we do the practical, that's probably going to be, next week or week after, when we start doing data cleaning and data preparation, collecting the data. We'll show you where we can collect the data, either from the data, the Statistics Bureau, their website. They've got a lot of data there. We can collect it, download it, and then, when we can install how do they call it again? The R Studio, and R, or just R, or open source R as a tool, and then play around with it and see how you can clean the data, you can process it, and so forth and so on. So yeah, so that is what the course is about. Let me just go back to the overview of the course. So we can see what topics we're going to go through for this course. It's going to be 8 weeks topics. It's taking me back to the same thing again. Okay, so it's giving us 3 weeks. Okay, so internet is catching up. Yeah, here we are. So this is data analytics. In the first week, we're supposed to talk about the overview of the course, effective understanding the importance. So that's what we're trying to do now. The second week, we talk about data collection, how we collect data, for the public sector, that is data, the Statistics Bureau. We'll use other countries as well, like US, because if you want certification in this thing from US universities or from international universities, you have to be able to use their data as well. And they probably have more data than us. So we'll give you that. So we look at the tools that we use for data collection, strategies for the effective data management, and the cleaning of the data, the pre-processing. Sometimes you can get it from the web browser. The last so no, that would be nice, man. The very record camera for this thing, the line. Malakila kullo futi na YouTube video to. Kaya kullo futi na YouTube video to. And it's for everybody, So it's good just now. Okay, so data cleaning and data pre-processing, importance and techniques of the techniques that we're going to use and the tools, and quality control, of course, to make sure that the data is reliable and accurate. There might be some noises here and there, some place might not be filled. So we'll try and set that up. So we also have what we call the exploratory data analysis. That's in week 4, where we talk about the what exploration, it means. It looks like, okay, we have the data, we're not looking at anything specific, we're just exploring the data to tell us what story is going to tell us. That can be really interesting. We're not going to be biased, we're not going to ask it for specific things. We're not going to ask it, for instance, how many infants died in Gambia from child mortality, for instance, for child mortality, or even how many people, how many pregnant women die. We're not going to ask her. We're just going to say, give us data and let's look at it. From that data, you can see the patterns there. The patterns will form. That's exploratory data. And then we use that visualizing the data using graphs and charts. So that, because it says pictures tell a lot more stories than words. So, we use charts, we will use visualizations. You can see, if you go to the Statistics Bureau on their website, you can see the visualizations that are there, the charts and the graphs, and then we'll explain how you can interpret those kind of things. And in week 5, we will talk about data modeling and analysis, because when you have the data, you clean it up, you fill in the blank, you remove the noise, you make sure that it's accurate, and you exploit. Sometimes you can just exploit. Also, at times, you also need to model data and then analyze it, so that it can fit the purpose that you want. For instance, if you're looking for, whatever specific things that you will want for, how many children are enrolled in the school, last year compared to this year, you need to model the data and analyze it. So we look at those techniques and how to interpret them. Communicating data is a very important topic. because you can do whatever you want. You can model it. You can create graphs. If you cannot communicate properly, it becomes almost useless. So how to communicate, how to do presentations, how to interpret graphs, how to interpret charts, how to write reports so that the stakeholders can take action. And the stakeholders can be anybody. It can be a government department head, Minister of Health, Minister of Education. It can also be the people. Gambian people want to know what's happening, so that they can judge how well their public sector, because they're the taxpayers, they're paying the money. Okay, so after that we're looking into introduction to machine learning. Machine learning is when you teach machines how to do things that human beings do. For instance, data analysis that we're trying to control the data at the machine. When it comes to learning, we can have the concept. You have two different kinds. You have excuse me. You have where you train them, you level the data, and then give it to the machine, and then tell the data, okay, this is this data I'm giving you, this is what it is called. Sometimes you don't need to label it as well. Just throw it at the machine, and then it will look at the pattern. The pattern will form, and then from there it can give you data analysis. So yeah. So those are the two machine learning techniques, and we're going to look into how you can use it, because sometimes machines are better at data crunching, and we have to be able to give them that credit. They can crunch millions of data. They can do it anytime they want. They're almost more accurate than us right now. We have machine learning tools like that can play chess better than human beings. They've beaten the biggest chess players in the world, machines. Now we have chat GPT, whereby whenever you throw at it, it can write essays for you, whatever you want. It can even write a book for you if you want. Just throw at it, and then it will give you what you want. So this is as part of machine learning, we will be doing we're doing algorithms, the application in the public sector, which is the service, and predictive modeling, which is talked about data modeling before. Predictive modeling is when you are trying to predict what is going to happen. You can do that using data. For instance, we can look at trends and know that, by the year 2024, the classrooms in the Gambia will be full, for instance, of students. So we need to build more classrooms. Those kind of things are predictive data analysis. Things that you have to predict. We all know that, some Africans, some Gambians like going to the Marabous, so that the Marabous can tell them what the future look like. But in this one, we're trying to use machines, we're using science. So it's a little bit more accurate than what the Marabous will tell you. It's interesting, but yeah. So we look at the ethics and the privacy, because when you're looking at people's data as well, there are some ethical issues, some privacy issues, and then legal things that legal compliance issues that you need to comply with, so that the data that you collect will be safe, and it cannot be identified because it's not identified. You cannot use it to identify someone. For instance, that's very important in public sector analysis. We don't want the data to be taken back to the person and say, oh, this look like, when you look at it, oh, this look like my old friend who lives on my street. So those kind of things, and you need to people's privacy. When you do surveys and people tell you what their feelings are, you cannot just go and say, okay, this man says he's going to vote for UDP next election. So the strategies and how to ensure that you denormalize, you how do you call it, you obfuscate the data so that it will not tell who the person is. People's privacy can be, because usually medical data, and it can also be secured. You have to store it in a place where it is really, really secure. Okay, so I guess you guys can still hear me. The thing is going to finish in a bit. Um, yeah. But yeah, so that's public sector analytics. Are there any questions? Let's just take questions for the last 15 minutes. Let me unmute my friend here. I cannot ask to unmute. Okay. I have asked him to unmute. I don't know how to unmute him anymore. But yeah, let me stop sharing the screen now and ask these questions. Now we know your name, Denver Boyan. Okay. Okay, it's 7 o'clock now. I think we can wrap it up for today. But I'll post the video, the YouTube video, so that we can all take a look when we are ready here. All right. Yeah. Do you have any questions, sir?
I would like to ask one example of predictive modeling.
Okay.
One good example.
Yeah. So the one example I gave you, I think one. Let me give you a couple or maybe two or three times, three of them. So predictive modeling, for instance, you collected data about school systems in the Gambia. You want to predict, how what are the needs, what are the needs of those students in the next 5 years? How many teachers will each Gambian school need in the next 5 years? So that's predictive analysis. You are trying to predict the future, what's going to happen. So you model the data, so it can tell you that story. In 5 years, these are the number of students who are going to register in Banjul, for instance. So therefore, in Banjul, you need this kind of number of schools, and then you need teachers. Yeah. Or for Nawek, for instance, you want to know how many villages are going to be built in the Gambia in the future, next 10 years. How many new buildings are going to be, and what is the capacity that they will, yeah. So yeah, that's predictive analysis. It's not like marble system.
Okay.
When you
Alright,
go to the
alright.
marble, okay, I want to see, the future. No.
Future.
This one is science, and it's almost accurate. It's really, really accurate. Almost
Okay.
time is accurate. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll deal about these kind of things. So by the time of the younger course, you will be. This is the first course actually. So after this
Okay.
one, we'll go to 2 or 3 other courses. So the first part will try and explain to you the concept of government administration. What's policy making, so that you will understand how policies are made, and then afterwards we'll go into the technical part, because public policy, IT generally is made up of two parts. You have to understand the domain you are working in. You also have to understand the technology. If you work in the retail, for instance, sector, you have to understand how retail works. If you work in the public sector or in the department, you have to understand how that department works. That's why they think computer science engineers are some of the smartest people on earth, because you have to know all these two domains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you work in the finance, you have to know the finance. So if you go for an interview, for instance, what will ask you is, okay, have you ever worked in the financial industry? Because they don't want you to go all over to start teaching you, how finance works. They want you
Yeah.
to be able to understand day one. Yeah. So yeah, so we'll teach you that domain part of the public sector, and then you can go into the technology part, also the tools that we can use. Then you can make, better informed decision. You will understand how public sector works, so that you can know what kind of policies, have been formulated, and how your data analysis will affect those policies. Because it's a very, very important sector. And, hopefully we'll go to Statistics Bureau as well, and give them this same course that they're giving. We're supposed to do that sometimes last year, but we couldn't find time. But hopefully this year we'll invite them on board, so that we can teach them data science particular. Because I think only one guy there did data science in the whole of the Gambia in data statistics. So, it's important that we all come and learn together. Okay, any other thing? Any
No.
topic, any other thing? Okay, all right, thanks a lot then. I'll see you guys tomorrow then.
Okay.
Okay.